Greetings to you. Today we are going to discuss another aspect of learning disability. This is mainly regarding to maths. There are so many children who find maths very difficult. Some of them struggle because they lack reading skills, and some have comprehension problems. Some experience a deficit in the cognitive process. So they don't know how to solve this problem. And I am sure that all of you must have come across so many students like this in and around you or in the classroom. A teacher needs to evaluate the reason for the difficulty and plan an effective program to help the child. Now let us start with the beginners. So if it's a beginning stage of education, what are the problems that we are going to come across, and also what are the symptoms of it? The beginners need to be thorough with the basic concepts which form the foundation for maths. Now the basic concepts are the concept of long and short, tall and short, big and small, thick and thin, more and less, heavy and light, and then shapes, square, circle, triangle and rectangle. Now the child can visualize some of these concepts and can have enough number of visual presentations. When it comes to abstract concepts, the child needs to feel it in all the senses. Help the child to see, hear, touch and feel so that the child gets an experiential learning. This happens with concepts like heavy and light, weight, etc. The child also needs to see the application of these concepts from day-to-day life. For example, the dosa, idli and the plate, etc. are circles, the bread and the biscuit are rectangles, the sandwich is a triangle, and thereby we are allowing the cognitive process, the reasoning and application skills to improve. Now what are some of the exercises you can give to improve these areas? Identifying figures, coloring the figures, find the figures from a bigger picture, and an example is given with all the shapes so that it is easy for the child to find it out. Activities like pick up and arranging long and short, big and small, etc. Finding out the concept from the peer group or their own group of friends is also a good example. Now coming to lesson 2, where we start the introduction of numbers. They need to see the number, hear the number, feel the number and color the number. For example, number 14. Help the child to identify and stick the number, make the number with the dough or with clay. Simultaneously, the child also needs to know the formation of numbers, where he uses a standing lines, sleeping lines, slanting lines and curves to write the numbers. Proper training to count and write the numbers need to be given with objects and pictures. Some exercises are given below. Exercise to count and match is a triangle where you can draw the objects according to the numbers you want. Another one, draw objects in a box. Again, an empty box, draw 6 balls. Now we are on to the introduction of numbers 1 to 100. Oral work is very important. Identify and read the numbers. say the numbers, that is in fact getting it in the correct order. There is a box with numbers, help them to read it, identify and color the numbers from the grid. Then the following numbers 3, 13, 9, 19. So all these for them to give proper exercise and reinforcement. Along with this, start written work. Dictation of numbers. Write the in between, the before and after numbers. It is always difficult for a dyslexic child to look back. So they may find some sort of difficulty with the before numbers. At this juncture, games can be introduced. Draw the number and measure the compartments of the train. Something like this. You can write the before number or after number, the missing wheels, etc. Associate it with their playthings. It will make the process much more easier for them to learn. Missing numbers in a grid can be given at their comfort level increases. For example, 9, 7, 6, all these things, numbers can be introduced or increased as per their comfort level. Comes to bigger and smaller numbers, pictorial representation of objects will be needed along with the number for the child to see who finds it difficult to visualize. With bigger number, use number cards or tickets, etc. Help the child with clues to compare and match the numbers, to compare the first two numbers, to compare the three numbers, etc. So a creative teacher can plan lot of exercises at this juncture. Next is arrange in order. Example, arrange 635, 649, 610. Now suppose all these different numbers are come, how will the child be helped? Step 1. Here all the digits in the hundreds place to be looked into. They are the same, then look for the next second digit. So here it is for 6, 4 and 1, and then the child can arrange the number in order, and then they are able to write it as 610, 30, 635 and 649. As the number increases, use more strategies like this so that the child will be comfortable. Next comes ascending and descending numbers. Steps to climb up when you ascend and steps to climb down when you descend. Make the child do it with number cards also, where he can arrange these as if there is a step. Coming to the next topic, that is number names. I am sure that you must be remembering when we learn the spelling skills as what are the strategies which we can do there or follow. So the same thing, let us look at numbers from 1 to 10 alone and what are the number names. 1, 2, 4 and 8 are non-phonetic numbers. So these words which need to be given in the form of sight cards, or you can use any of the strategies which you followed previously. But look at these words 3, 5, 6, 7 and 9 and 10. All the spelling rules are given in the next box, so that similar things can be followed by the teacher to help them to reinforce the spelling. Children always find it difficult to learn the spelling of number 11. So 5 fingers, all the alternate fingers stand for E, and the middle letters L and N and V have different places. So the first, third and fourth fingers stand for E, second and the fourth one stand for the L, the V, and right inside the palm stands the N. So use your own creativity to help the child. To teach them 12. Twa is a blend, a sound blend, and there is an elv. So elv is in the picture. The teen numbers, we can use it with the help of flower petals like this, writing the common word in the middle and the other words to follow. Dictation of numbers is very important. We may find reversals of numbers and especially with numbers like 2, 6, 7, etc. So, representing numbers with pictures will help them. For example, we can draw the picture of a duck and the neck of the duck stands for 2. Reversals of numbers like 13 and 31, 14 and 41, 16, 61, all these teen numbers, they can make reversal issues. So, child needs to be able to verbalize these numbers by giving emphasis to a formation. For example, 13 is 1 and 3, 13, 3 and 1, 31. So, the more you start such reinforcing strategies, they will be able to do it much better. Regular and constant practice with clues for listening to sounds or the number which comes in the list, the first and the last, will help them to make these corrections. Next important issue is place value. See, for any child, if they want to do addition or subtraction, multiplication or division, whatever it is, they should be thorough with the place value. The first thing is use an abacus. Fill each stick with buttons. We don't have to go to the shop to buy anything like this. We can make our own. Here is the picture of an abacus, and the red stands for ones and the green stands for the tens. So, according to the number you are going to tell them, they are going to put the numbers. Here again another abacus with ones, tens and hundreds, and they are putting the beads accordingly. Each place value should have a definite color, and whatever color you use in the first class, please don't make any changes, because they are going to associate that color with the number in their brain. And since we know that these children are more visual with colors, they will feel very comfortable if we stick to it. For example, for the ones place always give red, for the tens you give green, and for the 100 you give blue. You can also use these kind of bowls with different shapes or sizes and the same color. That will help them to reinforce the place value. Different colors, each color denoting the corresponding place value, will help them a lot. Now, we are on to the basic computations, the 4 basic computations. The first one is addition. Start with pictures, 2 and 3, and then the last box have 5. So, underneath you are going to write 2 plus 3 and it goes to 5. They also can draw these balls in all the boxes as you give the numbers. The first have 1 and the next have 2, and then if it is 1 plus 2, then it becomes 3. We also need to help them to find the similarity in all these computations. This is another area where they sometimes find it very difficult. Look at the order in which we have given the numbers. 3 plus 4, 4 plus 3. They need to know that whatever way we put, the answer is the same as 7. You can give as missing numbers also. 3 plus 4 is equal to dash, and it comes to 7. And also dash plus 3 is equal to 7. So, they see these kind of similarities and they understand how it comes. Now, we are on to introducing language into maths. Remember, a child with specific learning difficulty, especially with reading and comprehension, we need our help to develop skills to do these story sums. A child needs to know the symbol and vocabulary for addition. That is the most important things. What are the words that we use for addition? Let us see that: total, altogether, sum of, in all, add. These are all the words for addition. Children who finds it difficult to read has to circle or underline the words and numbers to support them in understanding the question and writing the steps. For example, we can give them clues like this: countables will be always number of, cost will be rupees, and such clues will help the children, or such steps are needed for children with language and comprehension deficit. We are on to the next one, subtraction. First, teach them the vocabulary. What are the words we are going to look into it? To subtract, balance, remaining, less, and difference, all these words once they know, it will be easy for them to find out what they are supposed to do. Visual representation of numbers and crossing out what is to be taken away will help the children to form the basis of subtraction. It will help them to visualize and reinforce the concept. For example, there are 4 balls and we have to take away 2 from that. So, we are going to cut off the 4 into 2 and then it becomes 2 and then it is 4 minus 2 is equal to 2. You can also give questions like this. Some of them they need it in a straight line as 9 minus 4. Some of them will need it as in the form of a calculation, again that we can do as per the comfort level of the child. But let the child make drawings and subtract if he needs it. Number of ticks or number of lines should match the numbers where they have to do the calculation, and let them be helped to cut off and find the remaining. Next we come to concept of carryover in addition. The abacus is of great help for us. Tens and ones, 47 plus 26. They need to know where the carryover has to happen. 7 plus 6 is 13 and 1 has to go to the tens place. So, this type of carryover we can put pictures also for them to put the carryover number, maybe for a extra basket or something on the number where we have to put the addition number. For children who can put the bigger number in the mind and smaller in the finger to add, that is the best thing for them if they can do it. As far as possible, it is better to stick to any one method, as it is difficult for the dyslexic to shift from one method to the other, because for them unlearning and relearning are the most difficult things. Let us go on to the next one, the concept of borrowing. Give them pictures like this. It is 32 minus 24, and they know that from 2 we cannot take 4 out. So, we have to tell them that in ones there are no extra numbers. So, we have to take 1 from the tens place, keep it here, then it becomes 12, and from 12 we have to take away 4 and then we have 8. But when we took that 1 from tens place, there is now only 2, and from 2 minus 2 it is only 0. So, these kind of verbal expressions along with doing it in front of them is a must for these children. Tens boxes has only 2 tens and take away the 2, and now we have only 2 in the tens place. So, finish with addition and subtraction. We need to make sure that the children have understood it properly, because the next 2 concepts, multiplication and division, are nothing but a continuation of addition and subtraction. Why is it so? Multiplication is repeated addition. Let us see this. It is going to be 2 into 3, 3 groups of 2 cars. So, give them pictures to do that, and also make them understand it is repeated addition. It is 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6. That means there are 3 groups of 2, and then we can use the multiplication table as 3 into 2 is equal to 6. Again, look at the following question. There are 2 balls in one bag. How many balls are there in 3 bags? Compared to the first statement, this one is little different, because this is not repeated addition, because we have got 2 separate objects here. So, help the child to identify the relation between the subjects. One may be a box, one is the number. So, you have to multiply these 2 to get the correct answer. Let us go to the multiplication of 2-digit numbers. Here there is 43 into 4. Please make sure at this juncture that the children are very thorough with the place value. Then only they will be able to write it in the correct and appropriate place. So, we are on to the process. Take the 3 4 into 3 and then 4 into 4. It's as if a single army going to attack, and then we are going to give them the answers there. If it's a multiplication of 3-digit number, use arrows, use pictures, so they will be able to give it in correct order. So first we have to multiply 3 into 4, then we have to do 3 into 2, and then we have to do 3 into 1. So every time you can look into the place value and tell them, multiply the number with ones, multiply it with tens, and multiply it with the hundreds. So this kind of verbal instructions along with these things will help the children to do it very effectively. Make sure that you are giving them enough exercises to make it reinforced. Follow the same pattern, but keep in mind, respect the child's speed and give him space and time to do it at the comfortable level. That is where the success of a teacher lies, in being sensitive to the needs of the child. When it comes to 2 digits, it will have 2 steps. First, we have to take the number in the ones place, multiply the 2 numbers, then we are on to multiply it with a number in the tens place, and then we have to help them do that. Write it properly step by step. And as the number of steps increase, then the number of digit also increases. Here again, let us look at one word problem. One is given to find out many, that is, 1 to find out many is the meaning of multiplication. Let us look at the example. There are 8 chocolates in one box. How many chocolates are there in 6 boxes? So help them to find out the relation between chocolates and boxes. They have been given the number in one box. Now they have to find out the number in 6 boxes. The answer is 48. So that is how we go ahead with the statement sums or the story sums with division and addition and subtraction. Let us now move on to division now. Division is the opposite of multiplication. If multiplication is repeated addition, division is repeated subtraction. Here are 12 chocolates. Let us make it into groups of 3. So we need to know that we need 4 groups, and each group must have 3 each, and that is how we are going to do the division. So we have to divide 12 into 3 and we get 4. So these kind of pictures will help them to understand how we are going to divide it equally into groups. Similarly, let us make it into groups of 4. Here again, all the groups need to have equal number, and when we divide it, there is going to be equal number in each group. So now if it is coming to a bigger one, give them picture introduction. We have to cut a cake into 8 pieces. So how are we going to do that? The cake of 8 pieces. And if it has to be given to 4, how many pieces each one gets? Each one gets 4 pieces. So these kind of pictures will also help them to find out the division problems much more practically and much more easily than any other steps or verb problems which you come across in the text. At this point, care must be given to the vocabulary we are going to use here, because as teachers we are so comfortable with these words and we try using it, but this poor child who is in front of us need to understand what exactly it is. Now here it is going to be a number 13. It is going to be divided by 2. So the dividend is 13. The divisor is 2 because it is going to divide it, and the answer or the quotient is 6, and then we get a remainder, that is 1. So all these things we need to keep in mind and help the child to write the remainder as a separate entity in that column, so that they don't get confused it with the quotient and the remainder, because children with problems with space may find it difficult to understand and put it in the right place. Let us come to the division of bigger numbers. It is 637 to be divided by 7, and 7 will not go in 6. So, we have to take two numbers 63, and then again we have got 9 into 7 63, 7 remaining, and 7 goes one time in 7, and we get the answer as 91. Let them say these things and do it. Another thing is the question of learning tables. Of course, we help them to do it with rote memory, but they also need to write it. They need to understand 2 into 1 and 1 into 2, answer is the same. Again, 3 into 1 and 1 into 3, 1 into 4 and 4 into 1. All these are going to be similar, that they need to understand, and even when they are able to say the numbers at one go, they should be able to tell and also write these things. By constant practice only, these tables will get reinforced in them. Follow the same repetition practice for all the tables. Now, for tables from 6 to 9, we have given these pictures of the fingers, which is going to help you to do that. Each finger of both the hands represent numbers 6 to 10. Suppose we have to multiply 6 into 8. Let the fingers 6 of left hand and fingers 6, 7 and 8 of right hand be stretched, and the others fingers be closed. The number of fingers closed in the hands are 4 in the left and 2 in the right. Multiply 4 into 2, that is equal to 8, and each stretched finger has a constant value of 10. So, there are 4 tens, and that is 40, and 40 plus 8 is 48, 6 into 8 is 48. Children who are very good with fingers, or children who can manipulate their fingers well, will be able to do these numbers very interestingly, and that way you are making your class lively also, because maths is something which is going to be very, very demanding, and it's up to us teachers to make it very lively. Now, let us come to these metric measures which every child dreads. Conversion of units, measures of capacity, everything is difficult. Now, here what we have done is, the regular table which we get for these metric measures is from the bigger concept to a smaller concept. For example, if it is from kiloliter to 10 milliliter. Now, for a dyslexic, what we have done is, if you see the side table, you will know that we begin with 10 ml, and in the last step only we come to 1 kiloliter, because it is easy for them to visualize something growing from smaller to bigger, rather than visualizing something coming from bigger to small. So, all the tables which we have given here is to help the child to see things from growing smaller to the bigger. All the conversion tables given are to help you in such a way, so that these children will not find it difficult when they learn these tables. This change pattern in table B is to help the child to visualize the whole process. It is easy for him to visualize the concept from small to big on a progressive scale. For example, if when it comes to millimeter, and if there is a scale in front of the child, it is easy for him to understand what is 10 millimeter, and he also knows that 10 millimeter is equal to 1 centimeter. Next, he can say that 20 millimeter is equal to 2 centimeters, 30 millimeter is equal to 3 centimeters, and he sees it directly in front of him progressing. So, he will be very happy to see that things are happening in front of him, and he is able to see and feel that things are moving, things are growing. So, these metric measures are going to be of great help if for a dyslexic child or a child with number problem, dyscalculia, they can see things growing from small to big. Let us move on to the next concept, fractions. I am just giving you here only the very basic concept of fraction, that what does it mean to be divided and to see it in connection with the whole. Here is a cake. The cake is divided into two pieces. So, we have two half pieces, but the child needs to know that 1 by 2 plus 1 by 2 is equal to 1. When we put the two pieces together, it makes a whole. Here again another cake with 4 pieces, 1 by 4 plus 1 by 4 plus 1 by 4 plus 1 by 4 is equal to 4 by 4. So, children often fail to realize that 4 by 4 is equal to 1, and 1 by 4, when the 4 pieces are put together, it gives as a complete whole. Rules for comparing fractions are also given here. How the denominator and the numerator help us to find out the relation to know which one is bigger and which one is smaller. So, these three tables will help us to understand the numerator and denominator and the connection, and also with the higher number and with the smaller number. Every time when we do fraction, the next important thing is decimal. How are we going to connect fractions and decimals? And always keep in mind, a child with specific learning difficulty, it is very difficult for them to get all these abstract concepts at one go into their system. So, we have to give them lot of picture clues, lot of visual clues, so that they can understand what it is and how it is going. The basic concepts which a dyslexic needs to know and understand is, as the place value for decimals moves from 1 to 10 and from 10 to 100 and 100 to thousands, the value of the number decreases. If you look at this chart, the decimal point is there, and they can use their body also to learn that. If the decimal point is in the center of their body, all the numbers which are on the left side, the whole numbers, as the place value increases, the volume or the quantum of the number increases. But when it comes to the right hand side, as the places increase, the value of the number decreases. 0.1 is only one portion of a 10. 0.01 is only one portion of 100, and then it will be 0.001 will be only one portion of 1000. As the number of zeros in the denominator increases, the value of number decreases. So, these are all basic concepts which we can give to these children in understanding concepts which are very abstract for them. I believe that these are all the basic concepts that we need for the smaller classes. Maybe up to 4th standard, if you are going to be very careful in giving these concepts to your children, they will be able to do it extremely well. One last topic which I would like to bring to your attention is reading numbers and writing number names. And remember, we are helping children who have got lot of spelling problems also, and they have problems in visualizing also. Now, how are we going to help them to read the numbers? Let us look into that. How to read the numbers in international system and Indian system. Let us do it with the help of visuals. Let us begin with Indian system. The train has 4 compartments. So, each compartment carries each place value. We begin with the first is an engine, and the first compartment carries hundreds, second compartment carries thousands, third carries lakhs, and the fourth carries crows. So when this comes as a picture for them, it is easy for them to understand, and they see how each thing has to be placed. Hundreds in the compartment soon after the engine, thousands in the next one, lakhs in the other, and crores in the one which follows. And they will also form an idea in their mind that only the first compartment will have 3 digits. The thousands, lakhs and crores will all have only 2 digits. So it is easy for them to understand and also put these numbers in these places. So drawing these kind of pictures, you can have train compartments, you can have bowls, you can have boxes. So put the hundreds, the thousands, the lakhs and the crores in each place, then they first learn to read the numbers. Once they read the numbers, they are able to write their number names. So our job also becomes easier and we also get relaxed. And here is another number, for example, 44,004. They know that the first 3 numbers, they have to go to one compartment. The last 2 numbers have to go to another compartment. First compartment is the 100 compartment and the second compartment is the thousands compartment. So this helps them and they are able to say the numbers or read the number as 44,004. Remember to give them so many exercises till you feel that the child is comfortable and the concept has been reinforced. We need to all the time feel the pulse of the student. We need to be sensitive to them if we have to be effective in teaching maths. And one more thing is, how are they going to learn and read the international system? It is much more complicated than the Indian system. Here we have hundreds, thousands, million, billion and trillion. Here again, okay, let us go to the compartment of the train, and here we have going to have hundreds in one, thousands in one, millions in one, billions in one and trillions in one. And each compartment carries each baggage. The first baggage is the hundreds baggage. Next one is the thousands baggage. So 2 compartments are over. Now we have got 3 more baggages. The third one will carry million baggages. The fourth one will carry the billion baggages. And the last one will carry the trillion baggage. They need to visualize these things. So then they will be able to read it as 645 trillion, 456 billion, 111 million, 453,000 and 400. So at the same time they are visualizing, they are seeing the numbers and they are able to make a concept properly reinforced into their system. And see to it that every time, first help the child to put the number in its correct place value, make them read it, because many times we take it for granted that since they put it in the correct place, they know how to read it, but that's one mistake which we make. We need to help them to draw, put the numbers in its place, and then also to help them to read. Once the reading happens, then it is easy for them. Here it is a 6-digit number, and they know that if it is an international system, each one should have 3 digits. So we have got the hundreds and we have got the thousands. And then they read it, they draw the compartments, they draw it, and then all these things go into them depending upon the number of sessions we spend with them to help them to practice it. So these examples and the experiences which are shared with you are based on years of experience with students who need help in these areas. And since it is based on the experiential learning, I am sure that you will be able to make it much more effective, because you are also a person who experiences while learning. And experiential learning is an asset of a teacher. And I am sure that being a maths teacher, you will be able to be a very successful teacher if you are going to be a very a creative teacher, and the result will be highly rewarding for the teacher and for the student. So, in short, the objective of the whole program or this presentation itself is to help the children to make it easier and find this world of numbers a comfortable world for them. It is to help teachers realize that the child who has difficulty with abstract concepts will find it difficult to handle it in a much easier way. To help teachers realize the child who is good with numbers but lack language skill will find maths difficult as the level progresses. It is also to help teachers realize the need for the practical solutions to produce, to learn, and to reiterate and to reinforce abstract concepts. So, the difficulty with numbers is explained in detail. Strategies to teach and reinforce each concept is given in detail with simple and ample pictures. Teachers can use similar strategies and make your classes a very happy and enjoyable classes. Thank you.